Are working to prevent student loan rates from doubling on July 1st from 3.4% to 6.8%. Now, the real issue, of course, where to find the $6 billion to prevent the increase. Republicans want to tap what Speaker Boehner calls a slush fund connected to the health care law. Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius says that would result in doom. Joining me now, Congresswoman Nan Hayworth, a member of the House Financial Services Committee. Congresswoman, good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Great to see you.
So Republicans call this a slush fund. It is called the Preventative Health Care Fund. I've looked at some of the things that it benefits, and it passes out condoms to prevent the spread of HIV and AIDS. It tells people to stop smoking. It tells people to stop eating to avoid obesity. Doesn't seem like it's the most vital part of the new health care law.
Well, these are all things that have their virtues. There's no question about it, David. But the question is this where very precious health care dollars from the federal taxpayers should be going? Because these are all initiatives that can very appropriately be pursued at the community level, at the local level, at the state level. So since Health and Human Services has very broad latitude about how those funds are being administered, it's far more sensible to allow those funds to be used to extend the subsidization of student loans if that's where the American public wants us to be this year, and it certainly sounds as though there's broad support for that.
Now, Democrats want to increase taxes on oil companies, I suppose, and also on companies, businesses making more than $250,000 a year. Now, I know a lot of small businesses that make over $250,000 a year. They're just struggling to get by. Do Democrats really want to tax those folks?
We shouldn't be increasing taxes on anyone, David, and certainly you're absolutely right. A lot of small businesses get caught up in these sorts of new taxes because so many of them do operate as S corporations or pass-throughs. So indeed, what they gross is put on their individual taxes. That's not the way we want to punish our small businesses who are the job creators. So we need to find a responsible way to fund that extension of the subsidies.
Let me just dicker with one point that both Republicans and Democrats, I think, are making correctly, and that is why the rate has to cost so much. If the rate does stay at the current rate of what is it, 3.4%?
3.4%, right.
I doubt whether it would cost $6 billion because, in fact, when this law was first made back in 2007 and the rate was halved from 6.8%, the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage was at over 6%. It is now at below 4%. So if you were to offer a new student loan right now, it would probably be closer to 4% than 6%. So why is it going to cost $6 billion?
Well, you know, David, that's the computation that we're using right now based
I think it's wrong.
A conservative estimate, if you will. But, you know, if it's wrong, I'm certainly one of those people who'd be happy to entertain a different figure so long as it comes from a better place than raising taxes.
Okay, we got to ask you one thing on a totally unrelated subject because I know it's near and dear to your heart. You come from farm country, upstate New York, and there are apparently breaking news that the Labor Department has conceded the point that asking the kids, or the children, I should say, because they could be up to 18 years of age, preventing them from working on the farm, that these new rules are not acceptable. I'm sure you're happy about this, right?
Very happy about it. Anne Marie Burkle from our New York State Republican House delegation initiated that letter to Secretary of Labor Solis back in December. I was happy to sign on to it. It's just common sense, David. So it's great that our pleas were heard and so many other people's pleas for common sense were heard. And let's hope that we can keep going in that same line and make a lot more common sense prevail here in Washington for the sake of everybody in the country.
Well, it's one for the little guy. I mean, there's so many small farms that were concerned that their kids weren't going to be able to work on the farm. It's good to know that you can still fight City Hall if you've got a just cause. Congresswoman Nan Hayworth, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you.
Coming up next, a trip